In February 2021, Nintendo released a port of the Wii U game Super Mario 3D World for the Nintendo Switch. This version made minor changes to the base game of 3D World, making everyone move faster, adding a version of the dive from Mario Odyssey, and more. However, the main attraction was a newish side game called Bowser's Fury. It's a game in 3D World's engine, yes, but it really acts more like a tech demo for what could be a very unique open-world Mario game. It's an amalgamation of many things from Mario's history. The star gathering of 64, the beach aesthetic of Sunshine, the looming gargantuan Bowser of Galaxy 2, and the power-ups of 3D World. People originally criticized 3D Land and 3D World for their less unique styles of gameplay and their many similarities to the new Super Mario Bros. Series. However, Bowser's Fury uses the art style and engine of 3D World to create an experience that is truly unlike any other Mario game, 2D or 3D. It brings its own new toy to the box of Mario gameplay elements, a very small, open world, like Lapcat. I think this could be a huge step in a new direction for 3D Mario. That is what made me realize that Bowser's Fury very well could have been Nintendo testing the waters for a full open world Mario experience. I was immediately hooked on the idea of such a game, so I've decided to make a concept for what the open world itself could look like. In addition, I'll be discussing the basic gameplay elements that could fit into this game, what power-ups will be available, the major things to collect and obtain in the game, the locations you could travel to, and more. The main gameplay loop will be roaming around the world gathering power stars, as tends to be the case in 3D Mario games. The way you find and collect them will follow the format of Super Mario Odyssey. Since this game is open world, there is no need to go back to the end-of-level star gathering of the early 3D Mario games. The stars will be used to open locked gates and for fueling modes of transportation, like 3D World and the Galaxy games. One quick note as well, even though there are power-ups, the health meter from earlier Mario 3D games will return. I think losing a power-up to a single hit might be a little much, so I want you guys to comment and let me know what you think of that. Another aspect of the game is the exclamation point switches, which would return from Super Mario World. Instead of being optional, they would make the game a lot more interesting if they were the end goal of each boss fight. I think this would add several layers to the game. Perhaps certain power-ups are locked behind the blocks that will be filled in by exclamation point switches, opening up more areas to complete later in the game. In addition, certain platforming challenges will also become completable the more switches you activate, as you will be required to activate the switches before being able to proceed. Mario's moveset will be your average 3D Mario moveset. Ground pound, long jump, somersault, roll, wall jump, triple jump, you name it. Cappy will likely not reappear, so no more hat throwing. We're keeping the better roll from Odyssey though, that'd be great to have in an open world. Now then, onto the power-ups. Since the health meter is back in this game, the Super Mushroom will function more like a health item. It can be found in question blocks everywhere, restoring 4 of the player's 8 health. The Fire Flower functions as it does in most games. However, it cannot be used in water this time, so you'll have to be clever to solve puzzles this time around. The Super Leaf acts exactly as it does in 3D World and 3D Land, but this time the statue form is not locked behind a separate power-up, like in 3D Land. A beloved power-up returns here too, the Cape Feather. I know some people would probably want to see this have some sort of free flying ability, but that's too overpowered. It'll function the same as it did in World. Other power-ups can be found as well. The Boomerang Flower, the Penguin Suit, and the Super Bell all reappear. And a couple have new functions. Let's talk to Wolffe for a second to find out exactly what he'll be covering in this area and more in his video.
Thanks, Moldomre. I made a video on my channel talking about the gameplay mechanics for this open world Mario game. If you're interested in seeing how Mario could use plumbing to solve puzzles, or how power-ups could interact with the environment, and even how a crafting system could be used, just click the box at the end of the video or follow the link in the description. Now back to you, Moldomre.
Thanks, Wolffe. His video will be in the description once it's uploaded, so please watch that. And now we enter the final stretch of the video, part 3. The most important part of an open world game is the open world. I tried to approach creating the world of this game through the lens that Nintendo would look through. For their first open world Mario game, I doubt Nintendo would go all out with a crazy new setting. They'd want to ground the player and give them a world they would be able to naturally mesh with. So naturally, our journey takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom. I intentionally did not create new, crazy unique designs for the world here. It's greatly influenced by the world map of New Super Mario Bros. U. That may sound boring to most of you, but like I said, this is all through the lens of what would Nintendo do. However, I couldn't resist throwing in some major locations from other games. I included 3 locations: Isle Delfino from Mario Sunshine, DK Island from the Donkey Kong Country games, and Yoshi's Island from Yoshi's Island. There's also a meadow filled with fire flowers, which was inspired by the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie. Here's an overview of all the main areas in the Mushroom Kingdom of this game. At the center of the map is Peach's Castle in all its glory. In-game it'll probably look similar to 64 or Galaxy's version of the castle. There are 3 bridges connecting to Peach's Castle. The one to the east leads to Toad Town, which acts as a bit of a hub area of the game when combined with Peach's Castle. Also to the east is the forest and the port. The port is how you can get to Yoshi's Island and the Gulf Lake. The bridge to the south leads to the desert and the canyon. And the bridge to the west leads to the peaks and the Fireflower Meadow. To the north is the Mushroom Kingdom Airstrip, which is how you get to DK Island and Isle Delfino. Bowser's Lava Land is inaccessible until you get enough power stars and free the exclamation point switches from the Koopa Troop's control. So that's the general layout of the world. The main bosses of the game will harken to the New Super Mario Bros. Games, and by that I mean it'll be the Koopalings, Bowser Jr., and Bowser himself. I think there can be some mini-bosses around the world as well. Boom Booms and Pom Poms can be sort of the main grunts of the mini-bosses, with some more interesting ones like the Goomba King, Petey Piranha, or Kamek appearing as well. I don't have a full list of every mini-boss I want in this game, so feel free to comment who you'd like to see as a mini-boss. The main bosses will all be in their own fortress, with some fortresses having appeared in other games as well. Morton, Lemmy, and Ludwig all have new strongholds. Morton with a labyrinth built into the canyon's walls, Lemmy with a combination ghost house and fun house, and Ludwig with an icy castle in the mountains. The other Koopalings have some more familiar structures. Windy has inherited Bowser's submarine from Mario 64, which he uses to hide beneath the surface of the Gulf Lake. Larry has established himself in the Dry Ruins, from Paper Mario and Mario Kart Wii, in the desert. Iggy has taken over Peanut Park from Mario Sunshine and has made it into his very own Minion amusement park. And the last of the Koopalings, Roy, has captured the Kongs on DK Island and has taken the island under control using Bowser's airship. Bowser Jr., however, has taken over Yoshi's Island in a surprisingly poetic move that calls back to his dad in the original Yoshi's Island game. Bowser resides in his castle, as always, with Princess Peach locked away in the depths of it. And with that, my concept of what an open-world Mario game could look like is complete. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This is the most editing I've ever had to do for a video, and the first time I've ever made a script for one. I may do more stuff like this in the future. I've really enjoyed the process of this despite how long it took. I do tend to jump around in the types of content that I do, but if you like a wide variety of videos, please consider subscribing. It really helps me get to my eventual goal of monetization. And be sure to check out Wolffe's video once it's out. He and I brainstormed several times to make sure our thoughts on the game would line up for one cohesive vision. Give him a sub too. I'll see you guys later.